Hello and welcome to Life as a Secret Yogi. I'm your host, yoga journalist, yoga teacher, and yoga student Austin Bitsis. Today's interactive practice is brought to you by Dean Pohlman, founder of Man Flow Yoga. Dean will be taking us through one of the most foundational yoga poses out there, which is mountain pose or Tadasana in Sanskrit and traditional yoga classes. Attentiveness and awareness to detail is the name of the game here, in which Dean will take us through each and every subtle detail of the posture. Dean is an awesome teacher whose teachings are centered foremost around form. So if you find yourself at your stand-up desk or standing around a lot during the day, use this practice to get grounded, check in with your posture, and bring awareness to a most likely unconscious position. After practicing this episode a few times with Dean, proper form in your mountain pose and your standing posture will follow you unconsciously throughout your day. I emphasize especially for you stand-up desk users who spend hours standing in one place. I know myself, I often catch myself leaning towards the left or too much to the right, or really just unbalanced in my posture as I get tired standing for a while. And this can cause more harm than good in what is supposed to be a healthy alternative to sitting. So definitely try this episode out. Do it a few times till you kind of are able to get it unconsciously. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out Dean and my conversation in the episode before this. And if you're enjoying the show, consider signing up to our newsletter at www.secretyogisociety.com, which will be in the show notes below, because we have some awesome things coming up in the Secret Yogi Society, and I wouldn't want you to miss them. So enjoy this interactive practice with Dean Pohlman.
Hey there, my name is Dean Pohlman, founder of Man Flow Yoga, and I'm excited to be walking you through an interactive follow-along audio practice. So I'm going to walk you through just a really basic standing mountain pose and try and get you to really focus on your posture there. And be aware of your posture throughout the day, just to help you with not only your energy and your overall posture from a physical well-being standpoint, but also in terms of it being in a position where you're better able to breathe, to respond to stress, and also standing up with more confidence. So today I'm going to have you start with your feet about hip width distant apart. Don't worry about touching your toes together and heel together. I'm going to have you just stand with your feet about hip width distant, your toes facing straight forward, and the insides of your feet parallel with one another. We're going to go all the way from the toes all the way up to the top of your head. Go ahead and check in with your feet. Kind of grab the ground with your toes, push down through the ball mound of your foot, press into the outer edges of your feet, press down through the heel, and think about pronouncing the arch of your foot. So really driving down through both feet, pressing down through the toes, again the heels, the ball mounds, and getting as tall as you can just by adjusting your foot positioning. I want you to feel the muscles in your feet, the muscles in your ankles. So the front of your ankle, the outer ankles, really working here. Think about squeezing your toes in toward your heels without scrunching up your toes to pronounce that arch in the foot. And again, just being really active through your feet here. And now I want you to make sure that your weight is centered. So most of us tend to lean forward into our toes. So I want you to lean slightly back here. Back, lean back. Not to the point where you fall over, but until you feel your abs start to work to prevent you from falling over. You should still be able to grab the ground with the toes, but I want you to make sure that you're leaning back somewhat so that your hips are directly over your ankles and not in front of them. And that's going to lock in a lot of really good things for posture. So again, just leaning slightly back, and you'll notice that as you do this, the pressure shifts into your abs, out of your lower back and into your abs. You can kind of play around with leaning forward and back, maybe side to side too, just to make sure that your weight is evenly distributed through your left and right. You might have one leg longer than the other. That's normal. Not much you can do about it, but try to keep both legs active either way. All right, so now I've got the feet pretty locked in there. And now I want you to squeeze your thighs. So engage your thighs, maybe about 50%. So I don't need you to do a super intense death grip engagement with your legs, but light engagement through your thighs. Go ahead and take a peek at your knees. Make sure they're facing straight forward. Not turned out, not turned in, but facing straight forward. So light engagement through your thighs. A little bit of engagement through your glutes. So you squeeze your butt just a little bit, not to the point where you're, really squeezing your glutes like you're doing a bridge or a squat, but just a little bit of engagement. Your hips should be facing straight forward. A little bit of external rotation to your hips, just a little bit, and then a bit of internal rotation to your thighs. And that's just going to engage your thighs and your glutes properly. Knees are still facing straight forward, but just, again, internal rotation through your thighs, just a little bit, and then external rotation through your hips. So we feel all that nice engagement. Make sure that your hips are still right above your ankles, so that weight is in your abs and your hips and not in your low back. Go ahead and push down through your feet once more and lift your ribs up as high as you can. Without arching your back, lift your ribs up. Create some space between your waist and your chest. And hopefully we're continuing to breathe here. I haven't mentioned that yet. But for the entirety of this little practice, breathe in and out through your nose. So as you inhale, puff your chest out. Allow your belly to expand. Push your belly out. And then when you're ready to exhale, squeeze your belly button. Squeeze out all the air, pulling your belly button toward your low back. Make sure you're maintaining height, not caving your chest in as you exhale. And keep that up. So you've got the height, got the ankles working, the thighs, the hips are working. Pull your belly button in toward your low back as you exhale. Brace your core. So just you don't have to go crazy with the core engagement. We're not doing a plank or a really intense core exercise, but be aware of your abs working here. And again, make sure that your hips are back. We're not leaning forward, not putting all the weight in the toes. Ribs lifting up, and then go ahead and lift your shoulders up, back, and then relax them down. So you can move your head from side to side here. You should notice that there's no tension through your neck as you're doing this. So make sure that the shoulders are relaxed to the point that you're not feeling stress through your neck. And then go ahead and turn your palms to face forward, arms along your sides, and you'll notice that your chest opens up as you do that. So the palms facing forward, the shoulders are naturally going to pull in toward one another. Shoulder blades will pull toward one another as you turn the palms forward. And if that's uncomfortable with your arms at your sides, bring your arms out about 6 inches. Instead of keeping them right at your sides, bring them out a little bit. Make it comfortable for you. And we're still not arching your back here. We're not puffing the chest out. It's neutral. It's somewhere between puffing the chest out and caving the chest in. We just want you having a nice neutral posture, which should look good, but we're just not overcompensating. We're not arching your chest up because that's actually going to inhibit your breathing. So we want to keep the ribs slightly drawn in. Your abs are tight. You should be able to maintain that core engagement and no arching through your back. All right, the shoulders are in the right place. The arms are facing forward. We're still pushing down through our feet. Our weight is centered directly above the ankles, not leaning forward. Weight in the hips and the core. And then go ahead and press the top of your head up toward the ceiling. Pull your chin in toward your throat and relax your chin toward your chest. So top of the head presses up. Your chin pulls in and then relaxes down. And you might feel the back of your head, right? The neck might feel a little bit different here. Almost like you're creating a double chin. So the chest is nice and open. The chin is pulling in toward the throat. And this might not be a normal position for you. We might not actually ever go out in public and look like this with our head, but I want you to work on pretty much doing this called a chin tuck. All right, so chin in toward the throat, pulling your chin back, pulling your head backward, and allowing the chin to relax toward the throat. Top of the head still pressing up, so we're getting a lot of nice stretching through the back of your neck. Palms still facing forward, hips still centered over your ankles, and still breathing in and out of the nose. So everything's in a really nice position here. And I want you to take 10 breaths, inhaling through your nose, keeping everything in this position, and then exhaling through your nose. Squeezing your belly button toward your low back, not caving in through the chest, squeezing out all the air. And then keep this up on your own pace. Depending on the length of your breathing, maybe it's a 4, 5, 6, maybe it's a 7 or an 8-second inhale, followed by an 8-second exhale. So it all just depends on where you are with your practice right now. I would aim for no shorter than 4 seconds per inhale and 4 seconds per exhale. If you want to add in some kind of box breathing on top of this, if you want to pause at the top and pause at the bottom after the inhale and after the exhale, that's a great idea to work on your breathing, to work on your body awareness. Noticing the space between breathing. That's how really great way to build mindfulness. Still checking back in with that posture, making sure that you're as tall as you can be, pushing down through your feet, knees facing forward, thighs wrapped slightly in, hips turned slightly out, hips directly over the ankles, abs engaged, shoulder blades lightly pulling toward one another, but not to the point where you're feeling like you're doing a scapular retraction, not to the point where you're feeling like you're doing a row, but just nice little bit of engagement to correct that posture. If you notice that your hands are tingling at this point, play around with the positioning of your shoulders. They might have to come up or down. Typically, sometimes we get in the bad habit of pressing your hands down and actually pinching off that nerve, which causes that tingling sensation. So play around with that positioning of the arms. They should be active, but they shouldn't be forcing. We shouldn't be forcing this posture. And take a few more breaths here. I'll be silent for about 30 seconds. Okay. And then go ahead and keep that in mind for the rest of the day. Whenever you feel like you need it, come back to that breathing, come back to that posture, come back to that body awareness. Allow your body to reset. Work on that connection between breathing, between your mind, and between your body. And that's really where the magic or the secret power of yoga, if you will, comes into play. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Hope you enjoyed the practice. Be sure to leave Austin an awesome review. And I hope to see you on a workout soon.